Okay, I'm not sure what happened there. Hey, everybody, it's your girl, Dr. Rhonda M. Lawson, and I am back with a new episode of the Horizons Author Lounge. And you're in for a treat tonight because tonight we have an Army veteran and we have a young woman who's making history. And she is a survivor of Operation Baby Lift. If you're not sure what that is, you're going to find out very soon. But this is going to be a very special show. And I'm just really looking forward to jumping in. So without any further ado, I'm going to bring on Dr. Sharon Flowers.
Hello, thank you so much for having me, Dr. Rhonda.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for being on the show. I think the first time we met, we were actually in a whole nother country.
Really, and I can't even remember. So,
We were
so
in
it is my
Iraq.
pleasure. I feel like I'm meeting you all over again.
Yes. Yeah, that's exactly where we met. We met in Iraq.
Okay, all
It's
right. Well,
amazing. It's amazing how time repeats itself.
it really does. It really does. So I am just so happy to be able to be on the show with you today. And so thank you so much for reaching out to Nathaniel and having me on tonight.
Well, I'm just very happy to have you here. And so we're sorors.
Oh,
We find out everything through our mutual connection.
okay. Well, listen. So I'm on my Sora show. All right. All right. So wonderful. And you see me with my blue on
Yes.
today.
He didn't tell you. He didn't tell
Huh?
you.
You know what? He probably
So he
did, but
didn't
I
tell you.
don't. He probably did, but I didn't remember.
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah, I am happy to have you on the show. I'm always happy to have Azeta on the show anyway, though. But I'm very happy to have you on the show because you've been doing some amazing things since our Army days.
I've been trying. I've been trying. God is so amazing, and I'm just enjoying this next leg of the journey. What He have, what He has me doing now, and so it's wonderful. It feels good to have transitioned from the military and finding, you know, a new life after the Army. So yeah, so I'm really excited about this
Yeah.
journey.
So tell me, before we even go any further, I know that we've already given everybody a hint that we both served in the Army, but tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Okay, so I'm actually originally from East St. Louis, Illinois. I joined the Army in 1988 and I served 20 years. Enjoyed those 20 years, but I knew it was time to transition. I didn't want to do a day over 20. And so, of course, I'm married to retired Sergeant Major Nathaniel Flowers, who served 30 years in the Army. And together we have 8 children. I think right now in this journey of life, just being a mother to my children, being a wife,
Yes.
transitioning into being an author, motivational speaker, launching this publishing company. So I have been busy. And on top of that, serving God and doing what He has me to do out here on the mission field. So it has been full circle since my retirement.
That is amazing. I think that the Army actually kind of almost prepares us for this life because we have such a story to tell once we've moved on.
Oh yes, oh yes. I think that the resiliency of being in the military, deploying, the ups and downs, I think it's prepared me for life after the military. And I think, serving, you served in the military, as well. It takes a lot, mentally, physically, to do those things, and we have to be ready to shift at a moment's notice. So I do believe that the Army prepared me for those things.
Absolutely, absolutely. So tell me about this publishing company you've started.
Yes, so last year, I thought I was just going to be writing books, and I did an anthology with some more military friends. And I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to be this author and I'm just going to, write books. And God was like, no, that's not it. I have some things for you to do. And so I
Yes.
was like, okay, so what do you want me to do? And I began to write down what I wanted to see. in a publishing company, because one of the things, there's so many amazing stories that everyday people have, and their voices go unheard because they cannot afford these big box, publishing companies.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so as God gave me this vision to tell the stories of the unknown, those that don't have a platform. And so last year I launched Purposeful Pathways Publishing Company.
Love the
It's
name.
actually, yeah, it's actually titled after my first book, Purposeful Pathways. And now, even as I'm thinking about it, everything that I have went through in life was purposeful, it was needed, and it has allowed me to grow into the person that I am now, whether that's good, bad, or indifferent. And so this publishing company is really going to allow me to share those stories of the everyday person that's walking the streets and no one says, "Hey, tell me your story." And so those are the
Mm,
stories that I want to publish. I want to hear about the 16-year-old who was pregnant, but guess what? Now owns her own businesses or several businesses. And
yes,
how did that
yes.
person get there? So there are some amazing stories uh, that people have, but they don't have the platform. And so that's what Purposeful Pathway Publishing is about. It's giving those unheard voices a voice.
That's beautiful. I mean, I had just asked you to tell me about the publishing company. You told me about your whole motivation behind it. Is this something that you had always dreamt of while you were in the army, or did this come to you when God said no, when you're going to be moving in a different direction?
Yeah, so this was not something that I saw myself doing. I always wanted to be a college professor, and so I do that part time. So I was just content on being a professor, writing articles for, the schools that I teach with, or doing a little research. And I really thought that that's all that I would be doing outside of writing books. And so this leg of it, you know, it came much later. And I'm just grateful now for
Yeah,
the journey, because I'm thinking, like, God, sometimes we have what we think we want to do, and God's saying, no, it's bigger
yes,
than that. You can't even imagine. So no, I did not see this leg of the journey.
wonderful. So, have other people saw the vision and joined you in this journey?
So yes, so right now I definitely have clients that are lined up. We're working on their books right now. I do foresee, of course, my first as a publisher later this year. We're hoping by Christmas we'll have that book out. But yes, the clients are coming in, and I'm excited to be able to help, them with this journey. One of the things that I'm going to do is I am going to host a writing workshop. And I think that this writing workshop is going to open up a lot of doors for a lot of people to just have I think the confidence to know that they can write. A lot of people say, I don't want to write because I don't write that well. Well, guess
Mhm.
what? A lot of us don't write that well, but that's why we have editors. And this is where I can coach and guide. And so I'm excited about this process.
Yeah, I think as you say that, I think about Moses. He was commissioned to do a great thing, and he started coming up with all kinds of excuses as to why he couldn't do it. But God meant a bigger plan for him. And I think that as writers, well, as just regular people, really, sometimes we don't think that we deserve to write our story, or we don't think that we have the ability to write our story. But that's why coaches, and as you said, editors, that's why we exist, to help you to
Exactly.
tell your story in a way that's going to affect other people.
Yes. I will tell you that I think I found every excuse not to write, not to move forward. And I kind of, just be honest with you, I played around with it for a minute because it's such a journey. And also too, being retired, from the military, I was in that mode of, well, maybe I should just chill. But then also too, one of our younger daughters, she was traveling with volleyball. So that took up a lot of time. And I said, oh, once she goes off to college, I would do this and I would do that. And then I still kind of procrastinated. And God said, no, the time is now. And so now that she's off in graduate school, um, I do have the freedom and the liberty to do the things that God would allow me to do. And so moving forward in that, and I'm really excited about that.
That's wonderful. Well, for those of you who just joined us, first of all, welcome to the Horizons Author Lounge. We are so excited to have you here. We are talking with Dr. Sharon McCray Flowers, and she just started a beautiful publishing company. And you have your book. Tell us about your book.
So yes, so Purposeful Pathways was a book that was really birthed out of pain, to be honest with you. I'm not sure how much Nathaniel shared with you, but I was previously married, and that spouse passed away tragically.
Mm,
And as I began to move on in life and just thinking about things that had transpired over the years, and of course, by this time, me and Nathaniel, we've gotten married, and we've relocated here to Florida. And God said, now it's time to write the book. And so this book, Purposeful Pathways, is really a collection of things that I learned over my span of life. There's 14 what I call life lessons in this particular book, and they range from topics of prayer, loss, being a blended family, um, my experience with suicide, and how
mm,
God, really sent an angel to rescue me. And so these stories are real stories. I've had to change the names. My experiences with losing a soldier, um, which affected me deeply. We
yeah.
deploy and we want to bring everybody home, but everybody may not come home. That's the reality of it. That's war. And so this book, I really had to pour out my heart into this book about just pain and loss and how I was able to move forward. So it's just not about the loss, but it's about the resiliency. It is about the power of God resting on my life and how he allowed me to go through all of these things from, being sexually molested as a child to where I'm at right now. And so my past didn't define me. Purposeful, and look at me today. And so I believe
Absolutely.
that that is, the nutshell of the book. And so yeah, it was very powerful. Yeah.
Wow, that is powerful. And I was actually just talking about this with a client last night, that sometimes our stories are our stories because they're meant for us to tell other people. There's somebody else who thinks they're the only one that this has ever happened to. So
Yes.
when we have survived our trauma and we talk about it, and I'm probably talking to myself too, because there's some things about me that probably nobody will ever know. But I know what it's like to be able to share your story. And when you share your story with somebody who's going through it, they know that they're not by themselves in this world. And you may wind up actually sowing something into that person.
Yeah, I honestly believe that the story empowered me in many ways because sometimes you feel that you lose your power when people take things away from you. But by me being able to write these particular stories, it actually empowered me and it really gave me my voice that I needed to be able to say, this happened, but it did not define who I am.
Yes.
And so I think for me, that's what Purposeful Pathways, that book. And even many times I think, okay, well, I'm moving on, it's time to release the next book. And God says no. And just was notified last week that this book won an international award for impact. And I'm thinking
Yes.
like, wow. And it just blows my mind, how God is so strategic in everything that he does. Um, and just putting things in alignment. And so I'm just grateful um, to be able to share my story. And I think which there are a lot of women that could relate to the things that I have suffered and maybe they have suffered. But just to know, listen, that does not define you. You are not what someone else did to you.
Yes.
You're not that. You're everything that God created you to be. And you're beautifully and fearfully and you're wonderfully made. And
Yes.
so this is what Purposeful Pathways is about. And this is what the publishing company is about. It's about empowering people, giving them a vision to meet their destiny and knowing that they're on a purposeful path in this life.
Well, yeah, you definitely found your passion and you found your path, and I can see you're already following it. There's a beautiful thing when we're following the path that God meant for us.
Yeah. And I think now, to be honest with you, Dr. Rhonda, I think I used to always say, man, it was just so difficult. It was difficult because I was not in the will of God and I was not following the path that He had for me. That's what made it difficult. And so now that I'm in alignment with God, it has made this road a lot smoother. That doesn't mean everything's perfect, but it does allow me to move with ease, knowing that God has me because I'm trusting His voice.
Well, now I hear a lot of people who will come on the show and they'll say that they're following the path that God gave them, or they knew that they weren't doing what God meant for them to do. There might be somebody who's watching the show who's saying, "Well, how do you know what God's plan is for you? How do you know what His purpose is for you?"
So, one of the things that I encourage people to do is, first of all, you have to pray and you have to posture yourself to hear from God. That means that you need to be studying your word of God. And then there's also, too, some natural things that we need to do. What is your passion?
Yes.
Write your passions down because in your passion, you will find your purpose. And so, one of
Mm,
the things that I tell people, my passion was to follow God. But in that passion, he was able to um, release that purpose and show me and guide me and direct me through his word because there's nothing that God has not had for me, even down to my degrees. I couldn't understand why God had me doing a degree in psychology and sociology for my undergraduate. And then I said, well, you know what, God, this is not what I'm going to do. I'm going to go and get my master's in counseling because that's what I want to do. And
yes.
I took two courses and I struggled through the courses and could not understand why. And it was because that's not where God had me at that particular time. And so I went on and pursued my master's in education. And I was like, okay, well, I always wanted to be a professor. So this makes sense to me. And then when he said, you're going to go back and get a doctorate in psychology, what? Like, how is this going to
Mm,
work? What is this about? But it also, too, he allowed me to do counseling for a little while but also to teach. And so now he was like, this is why I needed you to follow so that you could be prepared when you came to transition out of the military to do what I ordained for you to do, and that is to teach, that is to counsel because they actually are in alignment. And I
yes.
just, and I couldn't see it then. But if there's anybody that's listening, write your passions down because they will become your purpose. But to seek God wholeheartedly, ask God, listen, sit and wait for an answer. Because we quick to pray, but we don't always listen for God to respond.
Oh my goodness, you hit the nail on the head. We pray and we get up and we think everything's supposed to be poof. It's all good now.
No, no.
We forget
And
that we
write
have to sit in it.
Yes, and write it down. Like, when God tells you something, write it down, whether how small you think it is or how minute, but just hear. Train yourself to sit and just sit in God's presence. No TV on, none of that. Just sit. And if it takes you listening to the Bible on audio, which I do quite often, to just listen as I'm feeding myself with the word because I want to hear from God and I want him to
Yes.
lead and guide me in everything that I do.
Wow, you are speaking a word tonight, and you're speaking to me, and you're speaking to so many people who are watching. I'm looking at the comments, and your words are hitting the mark. So thank you for that.
Oh no,
So
I appreciate it.
but now what do you want to do with this book? I know you used it to launch the publishing company, but are you still doing speaking engagements? Are you traveling? Are you speaking to adults? Are you speaking to kids?
Well, so I have not did children. I'm
Okay.
actually trying to convince, my daughter to write a book with me, um, to share her story. And God gave me the dream, and it's really about fathers, dreams about my father, to be able to share on a different platform, with children. With
Yes,
Purposeful Pathways, I haven't traveled in a while. COVID really slowed things down
it
for a
did.
lot of
It did.
writers. And so I'm not out there, doing, book shows or anything anymore. But I will tell you that one of the blessings in Purposeful Pathways, people have been using it to do Bible studies.
Oh, that is a blessing.
Yeah. And so, that's one of the greatest blessings is that I still have people wanting the book, to do a Bible study. And so that's been a blessing in itself. So I haven't did anything with the book in a while, and so that's why I was surprised when I got the award, because I was like, I'm not even doing much with this. I'm just kind of focusing on the publishing company. And God said, yeah, but I'm doing something with it.
Mm, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. So I'm not sure, if I'll get out traveling anytime soon, because I'm working on another project. Um, and so I really want to get this book finished. Actually, two projects I'm working on. I want to, finish both of those and really get those out there, and maybe start doing book signings with all three. So hopefully that'll be the next path that I'll go.
Okay, so you said you're working on some projects. Are these books?
They are.
Okay,
They are. Yeah. One of them is actually more of a prayer journal guide,
okay.
teaching people how to pray. We'll talk about, breaking down scriptures like Joshua 1 and 8. That's going to be one of them. And just really looking at scriptures and how it applies to our life, and how that we can make the scriptures relevant to what we deal with today. And so that is one that I think is almost finished, because I've been writing a lot of lessons. I'm actually I wrote a lesson on confabulation, which is it's a psychological term, but really it happens in everyday life with people who have experienced trauma. And so what happens, they believe things that the trauma tells them instead of what God is telling them. And so we're not defined by our trauma. And so that's one of the things that we'll talk about, understanding how your trauma can become your reality of how you view it. Sometimes our minds get a little bit distorted, and so we don't think as clearly as we should. And so this is what, some of the things that I'll talk about with the psychology of confabulation and trauma, and how do we overcome it according to the Word of God. And so that'll be in this prayer guide that I'm developing now.
Well, that's going to be interesting. I'll tell you, I was today years old when I heard that word. That's a word I'm not that familiar with.
So it's actually pretty new in the psychological arena. I did not have a name for it. Um, I just know what God was telling me, and one day I was just doing some research, and I was like, this is it, this is it, this is it. Where people actually think that one thing is true, but it's so far from reality. And it's not true. It's
Yeah.
just that trauma has rewired our brains, and so now it's time to wire them the way that they should be, according to the word of God. And so I'm excited about that.
Well, now that is something that I'm familiar with. Often, when we've had trauma, we only see things through that lens, and we may not know when somebody's actually being good to us because we're so used to trauma, or we're always expecting something bad to happen. So because we're used to trauma. So yeah, when you put it in those terms, yeah, I understand it perfectly.
Yeah, yeah, and we have to. I think that, in this day and time, even when I think, just the worldwide, and we think about, things that are going on right now in our world, when we think about childhood trauma, adult trauma, because, there's trauma that happens when we're adults. But how does our worldview change because of that? And so is it
Right.
founded? God says, in John 8 and 32, the truth will set you free. It will make you free. So if what I'm dealing with, is it the truth, or does it just look like the truth? And sometimes we operate under stuff that looks like the truth, but that's so far from the truth. And
Wow.
so we
Yeah.
gotta, yeah, it's definitely challenging. But I do believe that, just as scripture say, I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. And so constantly every day, if the enemy is telling me I can't, no, God says I can do all things through him, and he strengthens me. And so making that word applicable to our lives every day.
Wow. Yeah, you are definitely preaching a word tonight. So I just want to thank you for that. Um, and we have just a few minutes left. Do you have a copy of the book with you?
Um, Let me see. Yes, I do. Nathaniel, can you hand me that book right there off the shelf on the bottom? You see right there? Go over to the middle. Nope, all the way over to the middle, past the book. Yep, right there. Yep, that's it. Thank you, honey. All right.
Let's give a
All
hand to
right.
your lovely assistant.
Yes, my lovely assistant, Star Major Flowers. Thank you, honey. Yeah, so here's the book, Purposeful Pathways. Um, Even this book cover was God given. And God told me, He says, I want the cover to look like, a pathway that's not smooth, because none of our pathways are not, they're not smooth. There's some rocks and there's some bumps and, it's some unsteadiness. And so that's why you see this pathway a little rocky like this here. And then, but if you notice in the background, it's sunshine and it's greenery and it's inviting and it's warm,
Yes, yes.
because our path, even though we come through some things, we go through some hard times, but guess what, on
Mhm.
the other side of that is beauty. And
Mm.
so this was the vision behind this cover. No, I did not design this cover. I just actually told the gentleman what I wanted, and this is what he hit it head
He hit
on.
it
That
right
was
on
what
the
God,
head. Yes.
yeah. And this is exactly, I just wrote what God showed me, and he got it. He hit it on the
That's
nail.
that's awesome. So now we did put your link in the chat, but can you share with us where can we find the book and how can we reach out to you?
Yes, so the book is available on Amazon, and I do believe, yep, you have the link. It's available on Amazon. I can be contacted at author Dr. Sharon E. Flowers on Facebook. On Instagram, it's Purposeful Pathways Publishing. Also on Instagram, Sharon E. Flowers. And so those are my handles. I'm not a Twitter girl, so I don't do too much on Twitter.
I'm
Uh,
horrible at Twitter, so I'm not even gonna make fun of you.
yeah, and of course, I am on Facebook, my personal page, Sharon McCray Flowers. And so, if you have a desire to publish a book, or you just need help in getting started, please reach out and contact me. Share your information with me. If you go to my website, which is Purposeful Pathways Publishing, and I do believe you have the link. Um, and you can message me that way, and I will definitely reach back out to you. You can email me as well, and all of the links are on my website. I will be more than happy to help you get started.
Wonderful. Well, Dr. Sharon Flowers, thank you so much for joining us in the Horizons Author Lounge. I really enjoyed talking with you. And I just wish you all the best in this publishing journey. It's not an easy journey, but it's a very purposeful journey.
Yes, it is. And thank you so much, Dr. Rhonda, for having me. I appreciate you giving me this space and this time. It's just, yeah, it's been amazing. And so thank you so much for doing what you do. And I know
Thank
that
you.
it's time consuming, and I know that you've got many things going on, but thank you so much for doing what you do.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your kind words. Well, you enjoy the rest of your evening. God bless you. And I hope we talk again soon. If you ever want to come back, just say the word.
Okay, Dr. Rhonda, yeah, I sure will. I thank you so much for giving me that invitation, and I'll see you soon. Thank you again for having me.
And thank you. Good night.
Good night.
All right, y'all. That was Dr. Sharon Flowers. She is the author of Purposeful Pathways, and she's also the CEO of Purposeful Pathways Publishing. So make sure you connect with her because she has an amazing journey and amazing purpose, and it's something I think you want to be connected with. So those of you who are joining us from YouTube, thank you so much. I appreciate it. We continue to grow the YouTube channel. If you have not subscribed yet, we are this close to monetizing. We're this close, and we need you guys. We need you. So if you have not subscribed to the Meet the World Image Solutions YouTube page, now is the time to do it. We only need like a little over 30 subscribers to hit that 1,000 mark. So go ahead, subscribe to us, and then share the page so other people can subscribe because the more we're able to grow this page, the more service we can be to the authors who come on this show. So I'm looking forward to you guys being a big part of that. So now, without any further ado, I am going to bring on our next guest. This is my girl, my friend. We've known each other for quite some time, but this is her first time on the show, I think. Miss Saran Bynum. How you is this your first time on my show?
I think it is. Can you hear me? Yes, it is.
Oh my goodness. I mean, we've known each other for a little minute now,
Oh
and we've
yeah,
done a lot of work together.
yes, we have.
So for
Thank you,
those of
Dr.
you,
Lawson, for having me on
thank
the
you.
show.
Thank you. For those of you who don't know, Saran, you're about to find out what a powerhouse that we have on the show right now.
Mhm.
But for those of you who don't know, I've produced two stage plays. I turned two of my books into stage plays, and I produced them myself. But I always hire a director. So when I put my book Twilight on the stage, I hired this lovely young lady to be the director of the play. But the year before, she was also one of the models and one of the choreographers for the fashion show that we did for Black History Month Literary Weekend. And that's really how we kind of met each other, because we met each other prior to that. But when we started working together is when we got a lot closer, and we've been working together ever since.
Yes, yes. It's just been a blessing to be able to work alongside of you. But I've always admired your tenacity to work in the community and to, inspire people through your literary works and to uplift other people through their works. So I'm giving you flowers. You're amazing. Thank you.
Oh, you are amazing too. We can give each other flowers all
Mhm.
because you did an amazing job with my play. And then not long after the play, you decided that you were going to produce your movie. And
Yeah.
you did a wonderful job with that movie. And it was actually based on a true story. So I told at the beginning of the show, I said that you were an Operation Baby Lift survivor. And there may be people out there who don't know what that is. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Oh, of course. We literally just we're on the cuff of the 50th anniversary of the fall of Saigon, and the history goes way back in Vietnam during the Vietnam War, and it last. This is like in history the longest war ever that involved the American soldiers and foreign land, and it ended April 30th. 1975, and during that time it was very tumultuous because like here, the Vietnamese communities in Vietnam, they lived a normal life. Everything was, was great. But then Vietnam was invaded by the North. The North, so we have Vietnam is divided from the North to the South. So Viet Cong wanted to come down to the South and take over, and they wanted to change the governing laws to communist. So unfortunately, it was a traumatic time for everyone. Uh, People literally tried to escape during those last days. If you are familiar with the photo of the Vietnamese locals, they're climbing up the embassy wall and they're trying to get into a helicopter. That's the most prominent picture in history. And literally, people were taking their bags. Some didn't even have bags and running out of Vietnam, and there were different ways that they escaped. A lot of the evacuees escaped by boat and plane if they were lucky enough. And they were on the ocean for like 10 days on out. And then luckily they landed in other neighboring soils. Um, and those neighboring soils were able to bring them in and bring them to refugee camps. And then a lot of families were sponsored by people here in America. So a lot of the families came to American soil and they started their life here. In my case, I was a baby, so I didn't have any family. A lot of the American soldiers, they lived literally were in Vietnam for years on out, and they were 18, 19 years old. So they have formed relationships with the Vietnamese women, and a lot of us were born out of that time, and a lot of us were abandoned. And so God, saw fit that He brought me out of that turmoil, and it was an operation called Operation Baby Lift, where the cargo planes were called by the president, which was President Ford at the time, to airlift a lot of the babies out of Vietnam, and we were literally shipped to Australia, parts of Europe, America. So me, I
Mhm.
came to America. So here I am.
You better
Yes.
speak. That is so awesome. And it just so happened that you wound up getting adopted by a wonderful family who
Yes.
raised you in New Orleans.
Mhm.
So you
Yes.
are a
Of all
true New
places
Orleans girl.
in New Orleans. Yes. Yes. God is, I mean, I can't thank God enough for putting me with the family who has so much love. They're so giving. They're so respected in the community, and they've passed on a legacy that I hope that I could pass on to other people, and that's to preserve history and to tell our stories.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Now, I know we're supposed to be talking about the play, but I would be remiss because it seemed like your journey started when you decided to look for your family, and you
Yes.
actually had
Mhm.
a chance to meet your family.
I did. I did. They live in Memphis, Tennessee, which is what, 8 hours away. It's not far. And
Yeah, well, let me
yeah,
I just want to back up a little bit.
sure.
Let me let me just clarify. So you had your adoptive family in New
Mhm.
Orleans, but you actually met your father, your birth father.
Yes, yes, through ancestry.com. I took the test years ago, and literally about now 4 years, I decided to look up one of the cousins because you know when you have ancestry.com, they come up with 200 cousins. You're like, what am I going to do with that? So I found one cousin, Andrea, and I sent her an email. I said, hey, I'm Saran. I live in New Orleans. Do you have any family who was in the military? And she responded, and I'm like, oh my God, okay. And she helped me. She said she loves doing genealogy, and she has what, four uncles that were in the military, or three, I'm not sure, but one was in the army, one was in the Air Force, and the other one may have been in the Marines, I'm not sure. But the one in the army, she said, does have a son. And so she contacted the son and said, hey, can you take a DNA test? Because I have this, I'm talking to this girl and she may be our cousin. And I'm nervous. I'm like, oh my God, this is, I don't know. I don't know. This is, I can't believe this is happening. And finally, I'm at work and I get a call, and Andrea says he took the test, and his name is Torbion. That's my cousin Toby. I call him Toby. And so Toby called. He had my number, and he called me. And I'm on set, and I'm working. I'm like, hello, and he's like, hey, guess what? I'm your brother. And I screamed, and I'm like on this quiet set, and I'm like, ah! And everybody's looking at me. I'm like, oh, that's
Oh
not my brother. And I mean, that day I'll never forget. Just to hear his voice saying that I'm your brother. I called my dad,
wow.
my mother, and my dad. He's like, wow, I'll be darned. He found you, your biological father's family. Unfortunately, my biological father, he passed away in 2016. So I didn't
Oh,
get
okay.
to meet him, but he has a big
You got the
family.
family.
Yeah,
Yes. So
yeah,
you actually the movie that you produced, you
yeah,
wrote and produced, that was
yes.
based on that experience, wasn't it?
So to work backwards, I wrote that movie years ago.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I wrote that movie, oh God, what, in 2006, 7, 8, I
Okay.
think it was 2007 at the cuff of when I came back from Katrina. And so I envisioned a story, and like the author said in the previous interview, we have our traumas, but it depends on how you turn your traumas into, either you live through it or you turn it into a victory. And so
Right.
I didn't want to live through the trauma and be, oh, what was me. I wanted to create a story that helped me to heal. And so I was told, that the soldiers, they just had one night stands and that was it. But I did some research, like the author says, you have to find the truth. And I found out the soldiers did have relationships. So I imagined my birth father having a relationship with my biological mother. And so I started writing this story of me finding him. And now, and I did the movie. I did the whole Hollywood style. Hired a DP, a director, KJ, you're awesome, Charles Gillivett. I had the whole cast. I did an audition, had great cast, Larry McGee, Nicole Lovins. They both were the main cast with all of the other. I mean, it was like, whoa, girl, you did this. So it was a full feature film. Fast forward now, that movie, people are saying, was a premonition of what happened. Like,
yeah, that's the reason why I thought that the movie was based on your experience, because the movie was released after you found your birth family.
Yeah, no, it was. I wrote it first.
Yeah, but it was released. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I'm like, all of you. This really was a premonition for you, Saran.
Yes, it was. It was, and unfortunately, he passed away of cancer too. And in the movie, I had my father pass away of cancer. So,
wow.
it was a dedication to him, even though I never met him. But I wanted to have a form of relationship in the movie world where I've met him and was able to take care of him. And, to know that my uncles, now my biological uncles, they told me he knew he had a child across seas. So that added to my healing, like, oh, he didn't know about me and he wanted to find me.
Beautiful.
So yeah, it's a process, but I'm healing as I go, Yes. And my father and my mother now, they're very supportive. Very, yeah.
And that's great that they supported you, just wanting to find out who you were.
Yes.
That's beautiful. So now you're continuing to act. I mean, I've been to your plays, of course, Jim Rats, and then you did my play Twilight, and then you had your movie Where I Stand. I believe that was the name of it, correct?
Yeah, Where I Stand, yes. And the latest one was Angola 3.
Yes, I remember that. And you filmed that at the Carver Theater.
That was a stage play, and we got recognized to the city. We got city proclamation from that. Yeah. So my life's work is about historic events. I like to educate and heal at the same time. Everybody has their own genre, and this has been my genre, is historically based projects. Yours, Twilight, is based on real life events. So that's why I wanted to work on your project, because it's very personal.
Yeah, I remember when we did that play. First of all, the actors were phenomenal. You and Josiah did a great job with choosing the cast. And they were able to bring those characters alive. But I found out later that they did such a good job that there were people in the audience, and actually some of the actors were really triggered by the storyline. And so I was really glad that I had asked, I think I invited like 2 or 3 sexual assault victims advocacy groups to come out, so they could be there to give out information, or to be there for people who may be triggered. And I was so glad I did, because there were people who were like, I don't know if I can sit through this, because they had gone through it.
Right, correct. Yeah. And then that's the wonderful thing about writing. It's a tool that you can use to heal and to educate and to uplift. And that's what I do with my work. It starts from writing, and it started off from journalism. I started journalizing my path on what I'm going through. And then, me being in the film industry, I just turned that into my work,
And so now you have a play. You've been invited to Washington, D.C. to direct a play that ties into everything that you're doing right now.
Yes. It's called Bynum America, the musical. Again, Bynum America.
I like that.
And it's based. It's a story. Yes, it's a story produced by Nancy Bowie. She is a filmmaker. Her documentary is called Bynum America, and as part of the 50-year commission, we hosted her film here in New Orleans at WYS Studios, and I was very touched. I never met Nancy, and I was very touched by the documentary because I saw my biological mother in there, and it was a story about a gentleman named Nam, M-A-N, and he was a refugee by boat, and he escaped with his wife and his children. Unfortunately, his wife and children died. They were thrown, the wife was raped and the children were thrown overboard.
Oh
And
my
he was
God.
also thrown overboard, but he survived. And a lot of
Mm.
people, when they hear about refugees, they don't know the extent of the pain and the trauma they've gone through to be thrown out of your homeland. And so he was literally uh, thrown and lost his family and had to come to America and
Mm,
start a
mm,
new
mm.
life, not knowing where his wife and his children were located. And he went back to Vietnam to try and find like any kind of grave or any kind of, if they were alive or if they were dead. And he couldn't find anybody, but he only found his cousin, and it was by a gravestone. And I cried because he broke down, and he wanted to find some kind of peace, going back home. And it's something that the Vietnamese community here in New Orleans, they're very resilient. Even though they've had such a tumultuous past, they're very resilient because they stick with family, and that's all you have is
Yeah.
family. When you've lost so much at home, they came here and they built a foundation, and that's all they have to survive. And so this musical is based on that documentary. Nancy Bowie wanted to expand the characters. There's two more characters added to it. So it's Nam, a gentleman named Ben, and as Binh, and he was a political soldier. He and his father were in prison in Vietnam during the war, and he witnessed his father's death. He was tortured. He came out of it, and then the third character is based on my story, and her name
Wow.
is Sophia. And I wanted to name the character Sophia because in the movie, that character name was Sophia too. So I'm kind of like bringing her on this journey. And so her story is in the musical as well. And Nancy Bowie, she's a brave woman to tell this story. This is the first time this musical is in English. You have
Wow.
80% Vietnamese cast. We have some American cast as well, and we also have some dancers. This wonderful choreographer, Tan Dao. He is a wonderful choreographer based out of New York and LA. So he has a team of dancers that will be included in the musical. And my dear friend Adonis Rose, Grammy Award-winning music director, he is doing the music for this
That
production.
is
Yeah.
that is awesome. This is huge.
Mhm. Yes,
This
it
is really
is.
huge.
Oh my God! It's at Tyson's Hall in Tyson. It's in Capital One Hall at Tyson's,
In
Virginia.
Tyson's Corner.
Yeah, Tyson's Corner, and I'm so excited. I think this is one of the biggest projects I've working on, and a lot of the people who are in the cast, they are taking this very, very serious because to everyone it's very personal. So this is
Yes.
going to be a beautiful piece.
I'm
Mhm.
excited for you.
Yeah.
This is kind of why I said that this play is kind of a combination of all you've been working toward.
Oh yes, it is. Just to be able to see the story, I co-wrote the play. The play was written by Nancy Bowie, but I co-wrote it as well. And to see our stories come to life on stage is amazing, and we're all reliving it. But to continue to do this and to educate the public about what we went through, and not only what we went through, but we overcome those obstacles, and we want to share with the American public that we've come so far, and that we love and respect America, and we still hold on to our roots of Vietnam.
Yeah.
And this is, the community is this is new for the Vietnamese community. They usually do a lot of events around their own, their communities, but to branch out and introduce this to the American public, is new and exciting, and hopefully, we can open up more doors for conversations about, the politics and community and just being together and rising together, through, so much turmoil and turning it into a blessing.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. Wow. So you said there's an observance coming up for Vietnam. What is that?
Well, we just finished it. It was April 30th. It just
Okay.
happened. Yeah. So it literally started last year. It was like the 50-year anniversary. And I don't know if you're familiar with Cindy Wynn in New Orleans.
Yeah.
She was a city councilwoman and she's running again. And so she established this commission of organizers, and we decided to put on 50 events around New Orleans, surrounding Vietnamese and their
That's
culture.
awesome.
And we wanted to, yeah, we did cooking shows, book readings. We did arts and crafts. So we were very involved. And a lot of people came out to hear our stories and to learn about our culture. And for me, this is the first time I have actually embraced who I am, because I was adopted by American parents. And so they call Americanized, as opposed to coming to America with my Vietnamese parents, and I'm Vietnamese. I didn't have that opportunity.
Well,
So
yeah,
this
well,
time,
we always joke and say that you're Blasian.
I know, right? Yeah, they call me all kind of names, Blasian, Amerasian. They call me Amarie, all those names, which is fine with me. But the crazy part is, nobody knows I'm half Asian until I tell people. They always want to know if I'm
Well,
Dominican or
I
Puerto
think that's because
Rican.
you grew up in New Orleans. And growing up in New
Yeah,
Orleans, we see black people of all different shades. I mean, there are
right.
black people who look white, and you don't know that they're actually black until they tell you.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
so, when I first met you, I didn't think that you were Asian either at first, because growing up in New Orleans, I was just used to seeing the rainbow of black
Yes.
people who live in the city. So
Correct.
I
Correct.
don't assume at all.
Right. And the thing, you know what it is too, and this is what I want to tell people. There's a group of us that are all over the place. We call Amerasians, and they look
Yes.
blacker than I look, and they're out there. But a lot of people don't know we existed. I didn't know I existed until I started researching. I was like, wow, these people, they're me. I thought I was here by myself, and so when I
And
found
isn't
that
that
out, I'm like,
awesome?
I got a sense of identity now. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And see, what is so special about you though is that you have all of these cultures. Now, you have the Vietnamese culture. You celebrate African American culture. You even have the Mardi Gras culture, and you're deep in the Mardi Gras culture. You're a baby doll.
Oh yeah, I'm a baby doll. Come on, umbrella. I'm
Now
all
for
over the
those
place.
now for those people who are not from New Orleans, what is a baby doll?
Baby doll. Oh, so that culture has started from the early 1900s, where the African American culture, we were not invited to participate in Mardi Gras. So a lot of the females and the male the locals, they wanted to form their own groups. So the males, they had their bands and they had their groups, but the females, we were like, hey, what about us? So they started coming out and dancing and dressing up in what we call, it was like ragtime. They wanted to have the silk dresses, and they look like baby doll dresses. We wanted to come out and dance with the brass bands, and that's what they did first. And so they wanted to come out and show out. And also in the Indian culture, some of the women in the households, they would take these satin fabrics that were left over from the Indians, and they would make their own dresses, and they would come out. So it was a
Nice.
way of self-expression, and this is who we are. We're not, just sex slaves and this and that. We're women businesses, and we need to be respected. So they would come out with the second line bands, and the staple would be the umbrella. We would make our own. We call it baby doll regalia. So it would be the umbrella, the lace gloves, the ribbon in the back of our dress, the lace socks, So everything was decked out and blinged out. And now with the times, we get more elaborate with our costumes. So that's how it came out. We have over 200 baby doll groups in New Orleans now.
Wow, I didn't realize there were so many.
Oh yeah, yeah. My baby doll group is called Southern Charm Baby Dolls. So yeah, we have a lot, a lot of groups.
That is awesome.
Yes, yes. It's an amazing sisterhood. We celebrate a lot of the young people coming out every year. And so it's a tradition. Not everybody can be a baby doll. You have to be asked or be an honorary baby doll. So it's just like the Indian culture. Yep.
Wow. Well, that's what I'm saying. So, it seems like it was a blessing for you to land in New Orleans because you're able to just spread just knowledge on all of your different cultures.
Yes.
Asian culture, African American culture, Mardi Gras culture, baby doll culture.
Yes.
I know some people say, well, isn't that Mardi Gras? But that's almost like a totally different thing all on its own.
Yes. Well, I love being a part of history and preserving it. And so I think I got this from my grandfather, Horace Bynum Sr. He's been a legend in New Orleans, and he always thought of outside of himself. He always wanted to preserve the community, and it's been instilled in myself. I want to preserve the African American community and as well as the Asian community, and it's God's work. I can't stop myself from doing it. I love it. It's my passion. We're doing the Treme Fest. I'm on the board, but it's my family as well. October 25th, and so this is our 10th anniversary. So when people say, "Oh, you're so busy," but my busy is my passion. And that's to just to uplift and to keep and preserve history.
Yes. Oh, and Kina Cook says it's also taking you to Europe to share the culture.
Yes, I just came back from Ascona, Switzerland. I was the baby doll honor. I was the what do you call it? The Grand Marshal baby doll, and
Nice.
my dear friend Adonis Rose. He coordinates the Jazz Fest in Ascona every year, and he brings along with him bands and Mardi Gras Indians and so forth from New Orleans to Ascona. And this year was amazing. People have never seen the baby doll before.
I might have to come up there and see what y'all talking about. Okay.
Oh yeah, come next year. It's every year. Yep. It's amazing. Wow. The bands, they're from all over, but the local bands in New Orleans, people, they were jamming, and then when they see the baby doll, they speak Italian because it's at the tip of Italy. So they say, "Oh, the baby doll, we love the baby doll," and they come out and do the second line. So they've never seen it, but they sure knew how the second line.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. Well, now we're running out of time, but we do have the link to Vietnam America on the screen. And here is the flyer.
Yes. And you have a QR code right there. The show is September 7th. Curtains open at 3 p.m., but come a little early, like around 2:30. Get your seat. We'd love everyone to just pass the word. It's an amazing musical, first time Vietnamese musical in English. So get your tickets now. Yes, thank you.
Yes. Well, I know I am definitely going to be there. I'm going to tell some friends to come along with me. We want to support you, and we want to pack out this theater because this is an amazing story to tell. And I'm just so proud of you for taking on this Herculean project and just blowing it out of the water. You are killing it. And I just want to congratulate you.
Thank you for your support, Dr. Lawson. Thank you for having me here. You're a true blessing. I love you.
I love you too.
VietnamAmerica.org, VietnamAmericaTheMusical.org, and just get your tickets there. You can follow me on Fifth Dimension Studios, Instagram, Facebook, and the website, Fifth Dimension Studios. The link is in there too.
All right, you heard it here. If you were in the DC area, if you were in the DMV, or maybe you're someplace else and you feel like flying into the DMV because you wanted to go see the sights and everything.
Anyway,
you want to go see the National Guard walking through the street or something. Come on out to DC and then come to go to Virginia, go to Tyson's Corner, and see the play. It's going to
Yes.
be amazing. All right.
Thank
Well,
you.
Saran, thank you once again for being on the show. Thank you for doing all that you're doing, and just thank you for being you.
Thank you. Love you. Much
I love
love.
you
Don't
too.
do that.
We're going to talk soon. And those of you who are coming to the Black History Month Literary Weekend, you will meet Saran there. She will be there.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye. All right, y'all. I told you that tonight was going to be a treat. And so I hope you know that I was telling you the truth. So this was just an amazing night. Two amazing guests. I had a great time. I hope you did too. For those of you who are looking for the Black History Month Literary Weekend, it will here's the flyer, or here's the banner. But we will be premiering the first video tonight. Oh, thank you, Mark. We will be premiering the first video tonight. So if you are subscribed to the Meet the World Image Solutions YouTube page, then you will get a notification for the premiere of the author lineup for the Black History Month Literary Weekend 2026. If you are not subscribed to the Meet the World Image Solutions YouTube page, what are y'all waiting for? Go on now. Go on and subscribe so you can get your notification too, because this video is everything. You just gonna love it. So just be ready. 8:45 Eastern time. You will see the premiere of the author lineup. And we have 12 authors this year. 12 authors in 2026. Yes, we're going into our 10th anniversary strong, loud, and proud. So go ahead, subscribe so you can get your notification. And I'm going to see you on YouTube at 8:45. Talk to you soon. Bye.